What if the key to living a long, happy life isn't about what you start doing, but rather what you stop doing? It's true, many of us focus on adding things to our lives, like new routines, goals, or skills. But did you know that the choices you make today, especially the habits you choose to stop, can have the most profound impact on your future? In this video, we'll explore how people who live the happiest, most fulfilling lives well into their 90s have made simple yet powerful decisions to stop doing certain things. These decisions have helped them not just add years to their lives, but add life to their years. By the end of this video, you'll learn about 6 powerful habits you can stop today, habits that could change your future and help you live a life filled with more joy, peace, and vitality. Stay tuned, because your future self will thank you for the choices you make now. One habit they stopped was fearing change. Fear of change is one of the most common obstacles that holds people back from living their best life, especially as we age. It's natural to feel uncertain or anxious about stepping into the unknown, but this fear can trap us in old patterns, preventing growth, learning, and new experiences. The longer we resist change, the more we miss out on opportunities that could transform our lives for the better. Let me share the story of Eleanor, a woman in her late 70s who lived a comfortable but predictable life. She always followed a routine, never straying far from what she knew. That was until her close friend passed away, leaving her alone and facing major life decisions. Eleanor was scared of moving to a new city, scared of meeting new people, and scared of the uncertainty that change brings. But after some soul-searching, she made the bold decision to leave her small town and move to a bustling city. It wasn't easy, and there were challenges along the way, but Eleanor quickly found a new community. She even took a part-time job at a local bookstore, joined a cooking class, and participated in a book club. She discovered a sense of purpose she hadn't realized was missing. By embracing change, Eleanor opened herself to a new chapter of life, one richer and more fulfilling than she'd imagined. If Eleanor can do it, so can you. The truth is, we all have the power to embrace change and create new possibilities for ourselves at any stage in life. Whether it's trying a new hobby, meeting new people, or moving to a new place, the only way to truly grow is to stop fearing change and start embracing it. Change is not something to dread, it's something to welcome. It brings new experiences, fresh perspectives, and the chance to continue learning and growing. So, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's one change I can make today that will bring me closer to the life I truly want? Start small, but take that first step. Remember, growth begins when we step outside our comfort zone. 2. They stopped overloading their schedule. As we get older, one of the most freeing decisions we can make is to stop overloading our schedules. We often get caught up in the hustle of trying to stay busy, thinking that more is better, and that the more we pack into our day, the more productive and accomplished we are. But in reality, overscheduling only leads to stress, burnout, and a lack of fulfillment. It's vital to create balance in our lives, especially as we age, so that we have the space to enjoy the moments that truly matter. Take the story of John, a retired engineer in his late 70s. For years, John filled his days with meetings, errands, and appointments, all in an attempt to stay busy and productive. But as time went on, he began to feel overwhelmed, stressed, and disconnected from the things that brought him joy. One day, after missing yet another family gathering because of his packed schedule, John realized he was spending more time running from one obligation to the next than actually enjoying life. He made a conscious decision to slow down. John started saying no to extra projects, stopped attending unnecessary meetings, and carved out more time for himself and his family. He began to prioritize activities that nourished his soul, like spending time in nature, reading, and engaging in long conversations with loved ones. That simple shift allowed John to rediscover the joy and peace he had been missing for years. If you're feeling overwhelmed by a jam-packed schedule, it's time to ask yourself, what really matters to you? The power to reclaim your time starts with learning to say no, not out of selfishness, but out of a desire to make space for what truly nourishes your mind, body, and soul. Saying no doesn't mean you're lazy or unproductive, it means you're being intentional with your time. By cutting out the unnecessary and focusing on the activities and people that bring you joy, you can reduce stress and find a deeper sense of fulfillment. Start small. Look at your schedule and see where you can. Create breathing room. Whether it's cutting back on work commitments, reducing social obligations, or simply scheduling more moments of rest, give yourself permission to slow down. Remember, it's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. 3. They stopped holding on to grudges. One of the most powerful habits that people who live happily after 90 have stopped is holding on to grudges. Holding on to anger and resentment might seem like it's protecting us, but in reality, it does more harm than good, especially as we age. Studies show that harboring grudges and holding on to negative emotions like anger can increase stress, contribute to high blood pressure, and even affect your immune system. As we grow older, these emotional burdens can take a serious toll on our physical health and our ability to find peace. Let me share the story of Margaret, a woman in her 80s who spent most of her life holding a grudge against her younger brother. Years ago, he had borrowed a large sum of money from her and never paid it back. Margaret was hurt and angry, and she carried that resentment for decades. But as she got older, Margaret began to notice how the anger was affecting her. She felt tense all the time, unable to fully enjoy her family or her life. One day, after a health scare, Margaret had an epiphany. She realized that by holding on to this grudge, she was only hurting herself. She reached out to her brother, shared how she had felt, and forgave him, truly forgave him. To her surprise, not only did it heal their relationship, but it also lightened her heart. Margaret's blood pressure normalized, and she felt a sense of freedom she hadn't experienced in years. Forgiving her brother allowed her to open her heart again, leading to a more peaceful and happier life. The truth is, forgiveness is one of the most healing gifts we can give ourselves. When we let go of resentment, we release the emotional weight that holds us back from truly living. Forgiveness doesn't mean we condone what was done to us, it simply means we choose to free ourselves from the power of negative emotions. If there's someone you're holding a grudge against, whether it's a family member, a friend, or even yourself, now is the time to let go. Start by taking a moment to reflect on what's weighing on you emotionally. Write down the person or situation you're holding on to, and then consciously choose to forgive. It can be a powerful act of emotional release. Forgiveness may not come overnight, but with time, it can bring you the peace and freedom to fully embrace the present. By letting go of old grudges. 4. They stopped relying on others for happiness. One of the most life-changing habits that people who live happily after 90 have stopped is relying on others for their happiness. While it's natural to seek joy and fulfillment from our relationships, careers, or material things, relying too heavily on external sources for happiness can create dependency and frustration. When we tie our happiness to something or someone outside of ourselves, we set ourselves up for disappointment. People change, circumstances shift, and life doesn't always go as planned. The key to true, lasting happiness is cultivating it from within. Take the story of Helen, a woman in her early 80s who had always depended on her family and friends to provide her with happiness. Helen spent years waiting for her children to visit, waiting for phone calls, waiting for someone to make her feel loved and valued. But as she grew older, she started to feel increasingly isolated. Her children were busy with their own lives, and her friends had their own struggles. Helen realized she couldn't keep waiting for others to create her happiness, so she made a decision: she would begin to cultivate happiness from within. Helen started by rediscovering hobbies she had loved in her youth: painting, gardening, and reading. She spent more time practicing gratitude, focusing on the little things that brought her joy each day, from the beauty of a sunset to the comfort of a cup of tea. Over time, Helen became more self-reliant in her happiness. She still enjoyed her relationships, but she no longer relied on them to define her well-being. Instead, she had found contentment in herself, and her life was richer and more fulfilling because of it. If you find yourself depending on others or external things to make you happy, it's time to reflect on where you can find happiness within yourself. Start by practicing gratitude daily. Acknowledge the blessings, big and small, that already exist in your life. It could be as simple as appreciating a warm sunny day or enjoying a peaceful moment. Another powerful way to cultivate inner happiness is to explore activities that you love, without needing anyone else to validate them. Whether it's picking up a new hobby, exercising, or simply enjoying your own company, the more you learn to nurture your own happiness, the more content and fulfilled you'll feel. Remember, happiness is not a destination, it's a mindset. By focusing on the positives in your life and nurturing your own well-being, you can create a lasting sense of fulfillment that doesn't depend on others. So ask yourself, what are the small things I can appreciate today that will help me become more self-reliant in my happiness? Habit number 5. They stop neglecting their health. As we age, it's easy to fall into the trap of neglecting our physical health. After all, we might feel like we've lived a full life already, or perhaps we don't feel the same urgency to stay fit and active. However, neglecting our health can have serious long-term consequences, not only shortening our life expectancy but also reducing the quality of those years. The truth is, our physical health plays a crucial role in how we experience aging, and taking care of it today can have a profound impact on how we feel and function tomorrow. Take the story of George, a man in his 70s who had always been active in his younger years but had slowly let his health slip as he aged. He stopped exercising regularly, ate unhealthy meals, and didn't pay much attention to his body. After a routine checkup, George's doctor warned him about his rising cholesterol and blood pressure, explaining how these issues could lead to more serious problems down the line. George realized that his neglect had caught up with him. Determined to make a change, he started small. He began walking every morning, added more fruits and vegetables to his diet, and reduced his intake of processed foods. Over the course of a few months, George saw noticeable improvement. He felt more energetic, his blood pressure dropped, and he lost weight. Not only did he feel physically better, but he also found that his mental clarity and mood improved as well. By making simple, consistent changes, George was able to regain control of his health and transform his life. If you're finding it hard to prioritize your health, don't worry, it doesn't have to be an overwhelming task. Start with simple, achievable steps like walking for 20 minutes a day, stretching, or practicing balance exercises to improve mobility. Nutritionally, try to incorporate more whole foods into your meals, like fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. Hydration is also key. Drinking plenty of water can make a big difference in how you feel. Remember, it's never too late to start. Small changes can lead to big improvements, and taking care of your health now will pay off in the years to come. Your body is your lifelong companion. Treat it well, and it will carry you through your later years with more energy, strength, and vitality. So ask yourself, what small step can I take today to improve my health and feel better tomorrow? Starting today, you have the power to transform your future. Habit number 6. They stopped worrying about the future. One of the most draining habits that people who live happily after 90 have stopped is worrying about the future. We've all been there, constantly thinking about what's next, what could go wrong, and how we might face the challenges ahead. While some level of planning is necessary, excessive worry about the future can steal our peace of mind and prevent us from enjoying the present. The more we focus on what could happen tomorrow or years down the road, the less we can fully appreciate today. Worrying about things we can't control only leaves us feeling anxious, drained, and unfulfilled. Take the story of Linda, a woman in her late 70s who spent much of her life worrying about the future. Linda had always been a planner and constantly thought ahead. What would happen to her finances, her health, her family? She worried about every little detail. But as she entered her 70s, Linda realized that these worries were taking a toll on her. She often found herself anxious, unable to sleep, and missing out on the simple joys of life. One day, after attending a mindfulness workshop, Linda had an epiphany. She learned to focus on the present moment and let go of the constant worrying. She began to practice mindfulness, taking a few minutes each day to breathe deeply, notice her surroundings, and appreciate the little things. Slowly, Linda's mindset shifted. She still planned for the future but no longer let it control her every thought. By letting go of constant worry, Linda was able to find peace and joy in the present, and her life became much richer as a result. If you find yourself consumed with worry about the future, it's time to try some techniques that can help bring you back to the present moment. One simple practice is grounding. Take a few minutes each day to connect with your surroundings. You can do this by focusing on your breath, feeling the sensations in your body, or simply noticing the sights, sounds, and smells around you. Another effective tool is mindfulness meditation. By practicing mindfulness, you train your mind to be more present, reducing anxiety and increasing your overall contentment. You can start by taking just 5 to 10 minutes each day to sit quietly and observe your thoughts without judgment. Remember, worrying about the future doesn't change it, it only takes away from the beauty of today. By learning to live in the moment and practicing mindfulness, you can experience life with more peace and joy. So ask yourself, what can I do today to let go of my worries and fully embrace the present moment? You have the power to live with more peace right now.